Hey, what's happening, family? You're just in time for another edition of the Open Mic Talk Show. Hope you and yours are having a great day. Let me introduce the Open Mic Talk Show family. She is our resident superstar. She performs all across the globe. She is known all throughout Oklahoma as the one and only Cara Black. He used to walk the streets of Guthrie, go downtown every Friday to see who was getting off the bus. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the one and only. He is Darnell Swift.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And also an honorary Elbow Hall of Famer.
That's right. That's right. And I'm your man, 50 grand, Mr. Carle King II. Hello to you and yours. Welcome to another edition of the Open Mic Talk Show. So, I was going to ask you guys, could I borrow a cup of sugar, a couple eggs or something? You know, it's getting rough over here. We need to lean on each other in hard times. And I think we are definitely in hard times.
Yeah. Hands off, man. That's what everybody said yesterday. Well, not everybody, but a lot of protesters.
Yeah, it was. It was protests from sea to shining sea. It was protests all across the country yesterday. Basically, in pretty much every major city in the United States had a protest yesterday.
Mm-hmm. And when you really start to try to put things together to try to make some sanity out of what's going on, you can't, because it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it's like you and I were talking either last night or the day before, and it's like, okay, so are you single-handedly trying to just destroy the country? Are you the real dumbass who really thinks that this tariff stuff is really going to work? Because it's not going to work.
No, he really thinks it's going to work and single-handedly destroy America.
At the same time, right?
At the same time.
I mean, people who are greedy, I don't understand. If you have all the money in the world and nobody around you can be on that level, how is that any fun? You're not going to even get to be a part of the people, see the people. You are so, you're just such at a different level. What if they let these oligarchs and people who are in the 1% take over this country? Mm-hmm. What's going to happen for the rest of us? That is just not the majority of the country. Yesterday, he was out playing golf. He's been playing golf while the country is literally crashing and burning. And one of the things people are talking about is, the bounce back and different things. Not in this case. These are blanket tariffs. He's putting tariffs on penguins and ducks and alligators and stuff, uninhibited islands.
Exactly.
But you know who he didn't put tariffs on?
Russia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Car makers are already saying they're going to be laying off people, pausing in car shipments because of the imported tax tariffs on everything. And it's just, people are losing their jobs.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
You know what I think about, guys? I was thinking about the fable, the story, whatever you want to call it. You guys know it. The emperor has no clothes. Where,
yes.
The emperor's going through town in the parade, and only one little boy says, "Hey, he's butt-ass naked," right? So, thinking about that, guys, how long are people who are surrounding him that know better? I mean, they know better. They're not that stupid. They know better. When is someone going to have the courage to tell him, hey, you have no clothes? In other words, what you're doing is not going to work, dude.
I mean, but he surrounded himself with people who are just ass kissers. That's he had. That's the only people around him. They want the same thing that he wants, and they're all
That's right.
delusional. And that's the whole reason that he went through and did all these firings. Because he needs people who are going to say yes. I would have thought Marco Rubio would have had a little bit more backbone, but he has shown and proved that he is not the guy.
No, none of these guys. I mean, Rubio, the dude called you, mocked you, little Rubio, little whatever, started calling you out, little Marco, all this stuff, and you would go and bow and kiss the ring, if you will. I mean, if we're taking over by a foreign adversary, which it looks like, Donald Trump and what he's doing only makes sense if you look at it through the eyes of Russians.
Sure.
Look at it through that lens.
So the question would be, Carle, and I agree with you, what does Putin have on Trump?
It's alleged. It is alleged, guys. You're familiar with his, I guess Miss World pageants or whatever. He was Trump, whatever. He was involved in a lot of pageants back in the day, and he had some pageants over in Russia. Allegedly, he was being filmed, being very, 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 being a very, very bad boy. Yes, it is alleged, and here's the thing, guys. At this point, honestly, let's just be perfect. Let's just be real about it. At this point, you could release that tape, and I still, in my heart, believe it wholeheartedly. They would not. They won't care. They would not care. I've seen many comments on social media throughout the years where people were putting up testimony under oath from Katie Johnson, who's a 13-year-old. She was 13 years old at the time.
Yeah.
She was 13 at the time. She's a grown woman now. But anyway, she alleged that Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump raped her, and she tried to, sue and go through the court system, and he evidently threatened the lives of her and her family, and she dropped the suit. So you show that people who are willing to go under oath, and these people, they don't care. It's from the left. The left didn't make that woman sit down in the court of law and testify against Donald Trump. The left had nothing to do with that. So having said that, I don't believe you guys. Well, Darnell, you talk about all the time. What is it going to take for these people to wake up? He's killed everybody's grandma. It's nothing at this point. They know it. They don't care. They would rather this country burn to the ground than share power with their fellow countrymen who don't agree or look like them. They would. If they had an opportunity, 90% of the Trump voters today would vote for him again. They would right now.
I wouldn't agree, because there are a lot of Trump voters who are saying that they did not sign up for this. This is not what they imagined. They wanted change, but his changes are making it harder on them. So.
Well, exactly. So they didn't care. Exactly. That's the whole deal. You hit the nail on the head. They didn't care about who it hurt until it was affecting them.
Right. So we look at the two special elections that they had in Florida this past week. Now, the Democrats obviously didn't win, but one district, Trump won 5 months ago in November by 37%. That particular seat, that particular candidate won by 15%. So we're talking about 22-point drop there. And then the other one, the guy won by 14%.
Okay.
So what it does say kind of, confirms what Cara is saying. There are a bunch of people who are disenfranchised with them. The question is, how will it impact the next election, next year, in those districts that are more competitive? You know what I'm saying? I just think that people, I think people really, to be honest, and I don't mean this in a demeaning, condescending way, I just really think that people are politically stupid. I really do.
They are. They are.
I don't think
A
they
lot of
really keep
people
up
are
with what's
misinformed.
happening.
They don't. They don't. They only think about the presidential election. They don't think about their local elections, which are so important to everything. Even the people who represent us in Congress and the Senate, people aren't engaged like that anymore. They forget that. Yeah, we were supposed to vote on Tuesday.
Right. And they vote for a letter. They vote for a letter and not the issues. I mean,
Right.
they go in, if it has an R by their name or a D by their name, that's the way that they go. And I still say the key to ending Trumpism and all this nonsense is to get that percentage of people, a larger percentage of people that are not engaged. I just don't believe that this many that's a majority of the way people think in this country. It's a majority of a certain sect of people.
One thing Donald Trump is. Go ahead, sis.
No, I was just going to say, but Donald Trump is trying to change all that around, because he wants to serve a third term, which really he means he wants to serve forever. So they're really trying to keep us from making any type of, choice, if we really have a choice, and who we're voting for.
Right. I mean, I think he's really exposed the political system or lack thereof. This thing is a dumpster fire. One of the things that has to happen after Donald Trump leaves office, they're going to have to do something about these outdated, antiquated rules or regulate or whatever they call. I mean, it's absurd. The two-party system is failing. It's failing. It's too open and too, it's too mired in corruption. The two-party system is just not serving the people well. The politics, I believe, is very good in its concept if it was done legally and on an upstanding basis. But when you have all the cheating and number manipulations and gerrymandering, we can't outvote, we can't outmarch, out-legislate this. I mean, there's going to have to be some fundamental changes. There are going to have to be some fundamental changes in how we operate in this country. How is it possible for a felon who can't even enter certain countries be the leader? It just doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I think that's 50% of it, Carl. I mean, you're 100% right. But the biggest problem, in my opinion, and that's a big problem, okay? But the biggest problem, in my opinion, is Citizens United, and what an asswipe like Elon Musk can do. You can put as much money into a candidate that you have in what's, quote, quote, dark money through political action committees, right? Which you can basically buy elections now. I mean, you always kind of could, but it's just so blatant now.
Yeah, basically.
It's like, hey, here you go. But I think Wisconsin spoke up. Think about it. I mean, there is hope. I mean, only 5 months ago, Donald Rump, he won Wisconsin, right? And that statewide election up there for the Supreme Court seat was a complete blowout. I mean, she won by double digits. That is a fundamental change. Now, what will happen in 18 months from now? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But there is at least some hope.
But
there is hope.
Go ahead. No, sis. Yeah, it's hope. But if the thing about a democracy or a constitutional republic, in order for it to work, or in order for it even to give the illusion of working, you have to have people who are law-abiding, who are lawful, and respect the rule of law. This thing all breaks down when you don't respect the rule of law because there's no mechanism to enforce it. It's not. He's been granted king. He is willfully. It's month 3. I don't know what it is now. There's several court orders. He's willfully not obeying. Willfully. They know it. Everybody knows it. Nothing's going to happen to him at all. So in order for all of this stuff to work, you have to have people who are going to abide by the law. It all breaks down when that comes into play, when you have somebody who's not law-abiding. He's going to ignore the court orders. Then what? There's no mechanism to enforce it. Exactly. He's doing it right now.
It's going to be, tomorrow's going to be really, really interesting to see what they do with the guy from Maryland who's down there in El Salvador. Mm-hmm. Basically, the judges told him, you need to bring him back.
Did you hear what they said? Did you hear what they said? Well, the Trump never responded to him.
Of course, right. So here is the rub, if you will. You can hold officers of the court accountable. So let's say you're 50 years old, you're a big time lawyer, you're working for the Department of Justice. Are you willing to give up your law practice or your law license, I should say, to keep defending this crap?
Well,
because there are ways that you can sanction the officers of the courts, and I think that's where they'll start. It's a real test. You're right. He's ignoring lawful orders from judges, right? And they're talking shit about it too. I mean, they're coming up saying, hey, judges don't have the right to tell us what to do, you know? So we already know that Trump is going to push the boundaries. He's going to test everything. He's going to not do what he's asked to do. We are going to find out if those institutions have some pushback. And these people, I'm sorry, Cara, go ahead.
No, I was going to say he already filed all these suits against these main lawyers, and they've given him money, basically saying we will do your will.
Right.
Yeah, he's fleecing the country. Guys, if the country, you guys just have a lot more faith. I wish you guys were right. I hope you're right. When the gentleman who was over the Treasury Department resigned, people involved in Social Security resigned, when Elon Musk was wanting access directly to those monies, I mean, America said something about it, but they didn't. Now, let me say this. If Obama was in office and some of these same things happened under his watch, they literally would be outside of the White House with hoods and things burning. They would be.
He literally said it as much the other day when he had the meeting up in New York at Hamilton College.
He did,
said,
but
imagine if I had done this. But he also said something I think was very important in that sit down that he had. Basically, and I'm just going to kind of paraphrase it. He said, "Hey, there may be some sacrifice. If you're a law firm, maybe you have to give up some business. If you're a college, maybe you have to, for the time being, learn to sacrifice without getting this particular federal endowment." In other words, there's going to have to be some pushback because they're not going to stop. I mean, he's not going to stop. It's just that simple.
Cara, I blame Obama for this. This is all his fault. Because he had it. he had at that time the biggest political mandate in the history of this country, and he took that political mandate and did not execute the will of the people. He tried to reach across the aisle. Meanwhile, they were having meetings behind his back saying that stuff that they agreed for, if he's for it, no matter what it is, if he's for it, we are against it. He did not use his political clout, his political money, if you will, his political mandate. He did not use it. If he would have done that, I believe this country would be in a different place. I believe, honestly, that Obama allowed for the rise of this Donald Trump thing. He didn't seize the moment when he had it. And here we are.
Well, I can kind of concur with a little bit of that because I had hoped that he would have done something, especially in the last few months.
I thought the same thing as well. Yeah. Oh, y'all, hold on. Just hold on to the second. He going to drop the hammer on that second one. And this next one, he going to drop the hammer on. I'm telling you, he going to let it go. And he did not drop the hammer. Meanwhile, now he's all regretful. And he wish he would have done more about this now. And when he says that stuff, it literally makes me sick. It really does. I just turn, when he does those type of interviews, I normally just turn. I can't stand to really hear it. I don't really. I'm not a big fan of the brother, to be perfectly honest with you, and not because of the reasons they don't like him. I don't really like him because I don't think he used his political might and used his bully pulpit in a way that he should have. When he had all of the political power, everybody behind him for this whole hope and change and and we have gone completely the other way. And now it looks as if some of this stuff, guys, is going to be irreparable. I'll say this. We'll never see some of the changes from this. We'll be gone. We'll be dead and gone.
I don't agree with that. I think we will see change. I mean, because just like Darnell was talking about Wisconsin, there were people who never voted during those type of elections. And they were like, they just could not sit back and watch Elon Musk come in and buy another election.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the second one he's bought.
Just openly, right. Just, here's money. How can you, that's what I'm saying. How can you defeat this? So in order to combat that, you're going to have, I guess, Democrats going around or people, independents, just going out with large checkbooks and saying, how can you beat this? How can you beat this?
You beat it by empowering the people. The people have to realize that they have power.
Absolutely.
I went, about a decade ago, I became an independent, and I was just thrown that, being an independent, I can't vote in every election unless there's an independent. Right. Not in the main elections, but, these...
you can't vote in the primaries, right.
Yeah. So that threw me. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, why do we even have this party system? We were talking about that. It doesn't make any sense. I'm an American citizen.
That's
I
right.
should be able to vote any way that I choose. I don't have to be affiliated with any of these people.
That's right.
None of them are doing anything for me anyway.
That's right.
And in some states,
it's a farce. It is utterly ridiculous, and it's unsustainable like this. We cannot sustain in this country doing this crap.
Right. In some states, independents can't vote. But I want to U-turn back to what you said, Carl, about Obama being responsible for this. And yes, I will agree with one point. Obama should have done more. But there is this obvious link with Obama and Trump. And it's a little bit different take. A little bit, I shouldn't say different. It's another take, I'll say it that way. Donald Trump would not be in office if there wasn't a Barack Obama. Donald Trump is a con man. Donald Trump, to be a con man, has to see, I think that there has to be two things. Number one, there has to be a mark. Number two, there has to be something to exploit the mark with. And Donald Trump basically used racism. He realized, that was the potential that he had to con people into the political atmosphere that he got into. When he kept saying that Barack Obama was not legitimate, and through social media his followings grew and grew and grew. Mm-hmm. As a con man, he realized, man, I can ride this shit all the way to the bank, right? If it had not, and this is the backlash still, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, of us having a black president, because we were happy. We were excited about it, and there were millions of.
But the thing about it was, he didn't even act as if he was black. He didn't. That's the thing about this whole black thing. He didn't even want to be black. Like man.
Acting black.
Let me just tell you. Well, I'm just going to tell you something that I saw with my own eyes. Okay, I saw this with my own eyes, and I obviously, like so many other people, I was a big Barack Obama fan, but I saw this with my own eyes, so it definitely changed my opinion. They were at the Apollo.
I'm not talking about Barack Obama.
No, hold on.
Now. I'm talking about the backlash of why Trump is in office, and that is because there is and I'm talking to two people who already know this, that racist element had to feel like they say make America great again.
Yeah.
Get their country back, whatever you want to call it, okay? And that is the element that we're fighting against. I mean, whether Barack Obama was well,
that's what I'm saying. He was more for them. He was more for them than he was for us. He didn't claim, he didn't like that label being called black. He didn't like it. I saw it with my very own eyes. Again, like the point I was going to make earlier is he was on Apollo. Chuck D was hosting something. Him and Michelle were up sitting on those little side seats, kind of up high in the little balcony area, that's so famous on the Apollo. And Chuck D was making reference to something, how far we've come as a country, and he said, and we even have the first black president, and the camera got to his face. And I saw it with my own eyes, and I said, well, I'll be dog. I also saw Barack Obama go to various ethnic groups meetings, to the Jewish Council, to the Latino Alliance, all these different things, speak so positively and this and that. He went to the NAACP meeting and just talked down to those people. That's where the whole Jesse Jackson thing came in, talking down to niggas. They caught him on that hot mic with all that conversation that was quote unquote negative, and black people were upset with Jesse Jackson about it. He actually was telling the truth. Okay, so, he was telling the truth.
Yeah, I would say, well, what has the NAACP done lately? What have they done for us lately?
Well, the NAACP is as effective as those other alliances were. They're not effective to their constituents. He didn't talk down to them. Why would you come to the NAACP and talk condescending? Well, he did it though. He did. That's a fact. I can pull up the tape and send it to you. No, it's not, Darnell. Darnell. You can clearly see if he's talking condescending and disrespectful to a crowd of people.
I totally disagree with all of that.
Well, that's fine. You can disagree, but that still doesn't change. That's still the end result is still the same. That doesn't change the fact that it's the fact. But so your opinion is irrelevant, Darnell. He did.
And so is yours. I mean, it's just your opinion, Carl. It isn't.
Darnell. Everything at certain point move when you have evidence, when you have things that have happened factually, you can move past opinion. You like to stick it to kind of cover yourself, to stick in that opinion type move. Now, let me finish, and then you can talk. Let me finish. You like to stick in that little mode of. You like to stick in that little mode of. We'll see, and all this stuff has actually happened, and you still we'll see. That's an opinion. No. We actually have factual information of what he did. That is not an opinion. He did that. So what you say is not going to change the fact that he did that. And you can like him all you want. He is the reason we're here now.
No, it has nothing to do with.
Yes, it is. You're the same person who said Donald Trump wasn't going to win. I told you he was. Now what?
And of course, Carl, you're always right.
Yeah. Now, what were you saying? What were you saying, sir? Now, what were you saying, sir? What were you saying? Mr. Trump ain't gonna win?
Oh my God!
That is just nothing but conjecture. I can have an opinion, and you can too, but that doesn't validate.
Did I not tell you that Trump was gonna win? Did you not say he did? And you said he wasn't. Is that not true?
No, I did not think he would win. That doesn't validate. That doesn't mean that everything that you spit out is absolutely 100% accurate.
I just gave you a specific situation. I said Trump was going to win. You said he wasn't. That is a fact.
Everything that you say.
Listening to you, it would be, oh, that's your opinion. No, I said Trump was going to win. You said he didn't. He wasn't. He won.
Sometimes people hear things differently, and that's the human nature. Just because someone says something, we sometimes hear it differently because of the way they say it. And how our own mindsets are at the time when we hear what the other person is saying. So two things can be the same at the same time. So.
Absolutely. And the thing, if someone goes and criticizes the NAACP, so what? They're not an organization that's above a reproach.
Well, why not criticize the other organizations across the board? Why specifically criticize that one? You don't criticize the Latin Alliance or whatever they're called, the Jewish.
Because he was the first African American president. That's why.
Absolutely.
And they were coming for him while he was running. They didn't want him to be in that seat. They didn't want him to win. A lot of them.
So the NAACP didn't want Obama to win?
I told a friend of mine who does not vote. I told him this a couple of weeks ago because he's upset about what's going on with Trump. And this is just true about politics. It doesn't matter who's in what office, whether it's the school board or the president of the United States. No politician is ever going to do everything to make you completely happy because they don't just serve me. They serve a constituency. And depending on what that office is, the larger the constituency or the smaller the constituency may be. So if we are looking for someone to be president, mayor, city councilman, whatever the case may be, and everything that they do satisfies us, then we're never going to be happy. We're never going to.
Well, the
You're
thing
never
about
going
it
to have
is,
a politician
you
able
do
to
the right
everything
thing.
that
You
we
just
look
do the
for.
right thing while you're there. You do the right thing while you're there and pass the baton and keep it moving. You can only do what you can do while you're there. You're there for 8 years if you're that lucky, or for 4 years, or however long your length of term is.
Barack
You do what
Obama
you can
basically
do.
had 2 years where he had the complete, where he had a Senate and a Congress. 2 years out of the 8 he was there. And I do agree that there are other things that he could and should have done. But to sit there and blame Barack Obama for why we're here today is
It's his
ludicrous.
fault.
It's ludicrous. That's
It's his
absurd.
fault. It's his fault.
Okay.
It's his fault.
Meanwhile, Laura Loomer is in the White House raising hell.
So
Unbelievable. She looks like Madam.
Laura Loomer would be in the White House, actually at one of the highest jobs. She'd be a cabinet member if allowed to be. She would be. But for whatever reason, the upper echelon of the Republican Party sort of pushed back against her for whatever reason. They pushed back against her. She has a lot of conspiracy theories. The Holocaust didn't happen. The school shootings are all staged and different things like that. But they connect with people like that all the time. So I don't know why she was so volatile, why she was so toxic. They have people like that in their administration, just in the highest offices. So I don't know why she's so toxic to them per se. She went to a meeting.
So outspoken.
Because she's so out, yeah.
She says it. She says what she really feels.
Well, she's got some power because she went to the office and evidently as soon as they left the
ended up
meeting,
firing people.
they
Right,
fired a bunch of
exactly.
people. So, I mean, she's definitely got some power. This thing. I think that this gentleman is really, 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 really in for. Just, for his riches. And the whole aspect people don't really think about this is market manipulation. Typically, they do this stuff. Trump knows that the stock market hinges on his every word. So he's been doing that over the years, market manipulation to sell the stuff, then people buy it up cheap. And, the stock market comes back and rebounds and stuff like that. This thing is not going to happen like this time. It's never been a situation where it affected global markets. It's never been this large. The Fed came out and said that he didn't even know that the tariffs would be this broad, this sweeping, and this deep. So
there have been economists that I have been watching on TV for since he's been preaching this crap. I have been seeing economists say what was going to happen, and they were saying this is what was going to happen. That it was going to crash the stock market, that jobs would be lost, that companies would fold. I haven't seen anyone that I look at in the places that I gather information that hasn't said that this wasn't going to happen. I'm not surprised at any of it, other than the fact that they're letting this idiot do this stuff.
Well, this is the Open Mic Talk Show, and we got Cara Black, Darnell Swift, and Carle King II. We're talking about tariffs, Donald Trump, and everything and beyond. The biggest, baddest name in talk. We are the Open Mic Talk Show. So, you guys were talking about what is going to happen. How long is this going to how long is it going to take for people to kind of, wake up and collectively come together and say, so this enough is enough? I think it really, at this point, we had some of the largest demonstrations in the history of the country yesterday. After his first term, I believe at that particular time, we had the largest single demonstration in history the day after he won. What is this stuff actually doing in real life? These political marches, just the people uprising across the country in various cities. What is it actually doing, helping like an actual real change from your perspective?
From my perspective, I feel like it's bringing more awareness to other people who may be feeling disenfranchised and dissatisfied with the way things are happening already.
Mm-hmm.
Helping to understand they have a voice, that they do have power. If we're ignorant to what is happening in our administration, then we only have ourselves to blame. for not knowing and not taking action. So, I mean, I think it's a good thing. I think it should be more, and I think that just protesting is not going to solve anything. Really.
No, it's really. That's my opinion too. Like, nothing's gonna happen from this. Nothing. These people are out sweating, getting high. They hungry. I mean, look at them out there marching and walking around. Look at them.
I would kind of say the same thing
Look
that
at 'em.
Cara says. I would say it's probably an awakening. Hopefully, again, I want to keep going back to the people that are not participating. I mean, look,
Right.
the only, I wouldn't say the only, but the main thing that we have to do is this political process, because that's where we're at right now. There has to be more engagement. I mean, there's a reason why Republicans want to suppress the vote, because they know that their policies and the stuff they believe is unpopular.
Okay.
They know that the majority of Americans don't agree with them. If they thought the majority of Americans agree with them, they would be doing everything they possibly could to have more people be part of the process. But they do everything they possibly can to keep other people from being involved in the process.
Okay.
I don't know what the answer is, but I just know that's part of it.
Well, so when Joe Biden won the office of the presidency, he won by more votes than anybody in the history of this country, correct? Even Obama.
He got more votes.
Right. He got more votes than anybody. So more people participated in the political process than any time in the history of this country. What happened? What was the aftermath of that? I mean, his agenda got stalled on every level. People were basically just flat out lying. Joe Biden was a very, very effective, for the most part, fairly effective president. He done quite a few things well, and especially with the lack of support that he had congressionally. He did a lot of stuff, got a lot of stuff through the infrastructure and various things with no political clout, if you will. Why did he not have political clout? He got more votes than anybody in the history of this country. So my point, saying all of that, to say all of this, we're going to have to at some point reform this country. The will of the people is not being executed. It's just not. It's not.
Well, we know that.
Lobbyists.
That's
Okay,
why
can I
people
finish?
are in the streets.
Okay, so lobbyists, different people are allowed to come up and write checks. So therefore, do we really have a democracy? Do we really have a constitutional republic? Basically, we are sold to the highest bidder. So if this whole system is not reformed, it'll never go back to the people, and this will continue to follow suit as such. We have these people in the 1%. Who are they going to enjoy the country with if everybody's broke and poor and dead? Who are they going to share? Who are the racists going to be racist to if we're taking up by the Russians? Who are they going to do this with? I don't understand it. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
That's what yesterday was about.
Right.
I mean, I think that's what yesterday was about. There are people that feel that way, that we do have to make a fundamental change. There are people. I mean, that is what yesterday was all about. And I think the more that people see the impact of some of this crazy nonsense that's happening, that hopefully that resistance, or that, if we want to call it resistance, that awakening and that reality will start to change. I mean, we can only hope, that it's like Barack Obama said the other day, and I'm going to paraphrase him. He said the most powerful political office in this country is the citizen. And if you think about it, that is true. There's just got to be more people. I mean, I don't see how it's going to change any other way. More people have to get involved and be heard.
I've read, over our conversations over the years, we've been talking about this, and I read some information, and I've yet to find anything to go against it. I read some information that no group of people in the history of the world have ever found their way through political means. If you look at the way the politics is structured in this country, all of the fighting, the marching, the water hose has all been wiped out with the swipe, with the auto pin, if you will, whatever mechanism he used to sign his name. It's all been wiped out in just a matter of seconds. All the death, destruction, all the fight, the effort. At some point, we're going to have to look at doing something economically, like within our own community. That's one of the reasons why they wanted segregation to end. They didn't want segregation to end because they wanted to be with us. They liked us. They wanted us to be a part of their community. They ended segregation because of the dollar. We were self-sustaining. Almost 50% of black people in this country had their own businesses, and we were thriving. They didn't want that. All of this has been calculated over a period of years. And having said that, the Republicans have waited for this moment for a lifetime. There's nothing they're going to do to stop this at this point from moving forward. They're this close. They've wanted this forever. There's nothing they won't do in order to implement his agenda going forward. Nothing. They've waited for this revolution in their minds for a lifetime. They're here. They got abortion. Everything is upon them and at their fingertips. They're going to literally burn this country to the ground to make sure that it's implemented.
There's still pushback. There's still pushback.
Again,
People are still pushing back.
Exactly.
We do not want to see our country burned to the ground. Citizens will not allow it. They have not been allowing it.
Yeah, people are just not going to.
They're not going to just lay over and say, just take it.
And that's what yesterday was about.
But the people, you're right. There is some pushback, but those people really don't have any they don't have any power or anything to really do anything to affect change. So if you are pushing back, but you don't have any actual power to do anything, like I said, like I alluded to earlier, that was the biggest march in history the day after he got elected last term. It didn't change anything. So how are these? I mean, unless these people who are all marching somehow can affect legislation or, the Supreme Court, how is it going to really matter? I don't know how. Basically, I don't understand how this is going to translate. I really want to see this. I've talked to so many people who are in the mindset of you guys. They want to believe there's hope. They think there is hope. How can it translate? In what way? If he's been granted king, he has all the mechanisms, all the levers of government at his disposal. I don't see at this point. You said, no, he's not. He's not the king, but he's been king.
He's not a king.
Well, the Supreme Court effectively, did they not do that? Did they not do that? The Supreme Court, did they not king him?
I think Wisconsin is a place to where we start. I mean, people are pushing back. It isn't like people are just completely laying down.
Right. Okay.
So we have to see. I mean, we're talking about politics, which is a real problem, but we can't address political issues, which is the problem. Donald Trump is the president. He's a politician. Mm-hmm. And all this stuff is happening politically, and say that we can't fix it politically. There isn't any other way to fix it.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Cara.
I was going to say the dismantling of the government as we know it right now may be the best thing for us ever, so that we see where all of the mistakes and mishaps and how easily they can run amok. And now it's time for us to go in and fix it, make it better. And so if they destroy it, then we can build it back up.
Yep. And again, it's like I was telling you, Carl, earlier when we were talking. Mm-hmm. There's going to have to be some pain. And there's going to be some pain.
Listen, I'm in pain right now. I'm in pain right now. Shit, what you talking about?
All these people.
I'm aching as we speak.
Hillbilly Earl. And these people that think that somehow, they're part of this, this MAGA group, they're fixing to get hit upside the head. They
But
haven't been hit upside the head hard enough yet. When it
okay,
happens,
when you say that, you guys you really honestly don't think that the whole COVID situation wasn't enough.
no,
Like I can't get past. Like he's killed everybody's grandma. He had literally
no.
people signing on to iPads and to a cell phone saying goodbye to their families. They couldn't even go in the room with them.
I've said to you multiple times two things. Number one, a lot of those people were ignorant enough to believe. I lost a friend that was ignorant enough to believe that COVID wasn't really, really real. Number two, COVID was what was the monster, not Donald Trump. Yeah, he was. You and I and Cara understand that he's responsible for millions and thousands of hundreds and thousands of people dying because of the bullcrap he was putting out there. But they can point to the disease and say it was the disease that did it. It wasn't the fact that he was up talking about, can we inject bleach in you?
His mishandling.
And I said a minute ago, there are some ignorant.
I mean, but guys,
he sent
guys. We were lacking supplies at one particular point during the pandemic across the country, right? We were lacking some critical supplies, and he was sending supplies to Russia. This is documented, well known. I mean, this is what I don't understand. This is comes back to I'm having a hard time processing. I'm having a hard time processing. Right? Yeah, I'm having a hard time processing the fact that people who are, I like to use the term, kinging him and placing all this power on him, they're literally cutting their legs off. What I don't understand is these people who literally look like they're ready to turn the country over to a foreign adversary. You won't be able to practice your racism and do all your redneckery if we're under Russian rule. I mean, you.
We've done that quote 1,000 times. What did Lyndon Johnson say about those white folks? And of course, it's paraphrasing, and it's true. What he basically said was, if you can make the lowest white man think that he's higher than the highest black man, you can pick his pockets forever, and he won't even notice. And that's just who Trump is. Yep. He's that guy.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I wanted to ask y'all something though.
Okay.
That I was just reading about. I saw on one of the social media things.
All right.
I guess Felicia Rashad said something about men don't want to see their women half naked in public. Did you guys hear about that? And she got a bunch of pushback from that.
I did not.
Talking about some of the things that women will post on social media where they're
unbelievable. Showing, yeah, man. That's a big. That's a really, 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 really big deal, guys. We've been talking about covering this for a long time, and obviously just the events of the day and just us keeping some food on our table and the lights on have kind of circumvented some of that conversation. But we're going to have a big powwow really, really soon about social media and how it's affecting this country positively and negatively. Man, listen, social media it's an absolute monster, man. It's a monster. People forget that we know some of you guys in real life, and also, you have an air of sort of being untouchable, if you will, sort of living out your fantasies. You can be whoever you want to be. You can create yourself and create this whole virtual image, this whole makeup of yourself, good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't have to even be true, but you can do it. Social media has a lot of positive aspects. I'd like to connect with friends and family and, connect with old Navy buddies and people who I wouldn't regularly be in contact with. I appreciate it for that. But some of the stuff, as you were alluding to earlier, is really, really bad. I saw a gentleman talking about in the Southern Soul movement. Shouts out to the all-new Soul Blue 102 coming soon, ladies and gentlemen, to a device near you. Speaking of Southern Soul, this gentleman was speaking about, they have this little, you put the little challenges out or whatever, right? Everybody does these little challenges across social media. And they have these little girls with these fans, being sort of, they're dancing, and it's a bit provocative. And he said, you guys need to stop sexualizing and making these little girls dance provocatively and just sort of, be grown and stuff. That's part of what we talk about when we have social media camps. We have media camps with Cara, social media etiquette. Young ladies, when you sit down, cross your legs and different things. Social media is really just a monster. Sis, I know, we've talked about it before or whatever. It's just outrageous. It's outrageous, man.
Yeah, and it comes down to parental control.
Yeah.
Parents.
Yeah.
Because I think it's making complete zombies out of these kids with the tablets and the phones, and
oh my God.
And you want them to have them because you want to be able to, get in touch with them and contact them. But I have teenagers in my house, and
Darnell, if you don't take those kids to McDonald's after we get off the air later today, it's going to be a problem. I'm going to come over there myself. Take those when they come in there and ask you to go to McDonald's. You get up right then and you do it. All right.
And what do I tell them?
Take those kids to Red Robin. Don't take them to McDonald's.
There will be no fast food.
Man,
that's why That's why the ramen's in there. Turn that ramen into a Big Mac.
Yeah.
We got McDonald's at home. A big ketchup, green pepper welfare burger at the house. What you gonna get? Yeah, hey, man.
Burgers on the grill. We had burgers on the grill yesterday, and
man. Okay, let's move on because I'm a bit hungry right now, so we want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that, but man, social media is really, really crazy. I one of the things about Felicia Rashad that I just love. She's actually one of my favorites of all time. She's absolutely elegant, classy, and just an absolutely lovely woman. And one of the things about her that I always respected was the fact that the way that she carried herself.
Her and her sister.
Just lovely sisters. Just the mother is just a lovely sister. Just you're beautiful, raised a beautiful family, great people. We've got to do something. Social media is really, really, really. You have people who have absolutely no talent, and I mean zero talent whatsoever, becoming filthy rich off of tawdry deeds, if you will, being low down, being shameful.
Hey, if it's going to pay, I'm not about being tawdry. I'm about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm
you'll support that,
man, 100%, man. Whatever I have to do.
The views expressed on the Open Mic Talk Show are shared by the hosts by themselves. They don't necessarily relate to the views of Kaleidoscope Radio Network. I mean, sis, man, it's what, sis. Now I think about somebody like yourself. Sis, I've seen some of the most incredible, I mean, absolutely phenomenal talent that I've ever seen musically on TikTok and social media. My goodness, you get to see people who obviously have a platform to showcase their various talents, and man, do they ever. I've seen some people who were absolutely phenomenal. What's your perspective about all the musical people that you see on social media? What's your thoughts about that?
I think it's a great way to get yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
Myself included, you gain a whole new audience of people who who don't know who you are, but they can recognize your talent and help propel you to the place you want to be.
Speaking of which, I think I'm going to debut my album on social media here in the next couple of weeks. Darnell, what were you were speaking about the sound of my album earlier, the last one?
Right.
What were you saying about it?
I was just saying the first album was so wonderfully crafted and produced that when I listened to it, I couldn't even hear it. I couldn't hear it. It was
I don't like you very much, man. You know what I mean? You my brother, I love you, but I don't like you very much right now, man. I just want you to know that, and it's all right,
I think Carle had a hard time hearing it too, but she just didn't want to.
Now, Cara didn't say that. You don't put words in her mouth. Listen, I'm still, when you say stuff like that, Cara, the people, I just want you to know, you were performing this weekend and people were looking for me to be a part of the production. They was looking for me, You're missing a great asset by not adding me to the bill. You know what I mean? To the.
Well, we're trying to work out the budget,
okay,
so that we can.
Okay, that's all. Hey, that's all I need. That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I need. You don't have to say no more. That's all I need. You trying to incorporate me into the fray. That's all I need. I'm good with that, and I'll hold on to that for the years to come. Thank you very much. As far as I've gotten so far, I'm gonna take it and run with it.
You still play the tambourine, right?
Man, listen, all off my feet, back of my head, everything. I'm cold with it, man. That's right. Yeah, when you think of tambourine, you think of me. That's right. I mean, I can play, triangle, xylophone. I'm basically a musical genius. I don't really like to talk about it a lot, but I really am. So with that being said, Sister Black, what do you have coming up performing here in the near future for the people? Of course, possibly with me being there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
All right.
This evening I'm going to be at Burn by Rocky Patel.
All right.
Cigar Lounge. Yeah, we're going to be doing a couple of sets starting at 6:30 to 9:30, and it's going to be a whole vibe.
I think you should let it burn.
Never Justice. Yeah, we're going to be making some music.
Awesome show. Let it burn. I could come and do a little Usher or whatever. But anyway, okay. So tonight, Rocky Patel and Burn. You're going to be there for the people doing your thing. That should be a really good show. So we look forward to that, and you're going to do your thing as you always do. You always bring it. Speaking of bringing it, I got some news today. I think everybody's going to be extremely excited about the performances, should I say, at this year's 2025 Hobbs Juneteenth Music Festival. Cara and I will be your MCs for the weekend. It will be a comedy show on Friday. Cara and the Cara Black Experience will be performing as well. That's Saturday. And I won't let the cat out of the bag just yet. But next show, I'm going to tell you, and boy, is it big. And just so you know, it's not me, so don't get too excited. It's not, it's not me, I know you get, I can see the build up of the anticipation that I would be doing my new album there, but no, not that. Darnell, hush. Okay, so Darnell, what do you have to say for the people as we exit stage left, good sir?
Sure, absolutely. So first of all, as Carle is going to be working on releasing his new album.
Thank you for support. I appreciate your support. Thank you for support, man. Yeah. I appreciate it. Means the world to me. You know what I mean? Thank you.
And just like Carle's album, which will be coming out, in a similar fashion, I picked up a 10-day contract with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I will be coming off the bench. Look for me. I'll be wearing number 25, my old high school number. So, when Carle's album comes out, I'll probably get in the game.
Man, this is they double teening me. They double teening me. They double teening me.
So I would say watch what happens, and Carle is right about. He's been right once.
Thank you. I do what I can. I try.
And let's watch and see what happens with the gentleman from Maryland. I think he's supposed to be back in the States tomorrow at like noon or like 12.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you real quick. Is it? I wanted to ask you about that. Is that noon or midnight? Like what? I know it's 12, but what's? Okay, you don't know. Okay, you're not sure either. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's watch that. And when we chop it up next, we'll see if Trump.
Okay. Now.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Now, we're not normally prognosticators, but in this case, we're going to do. What do you say is going to happen in this case, sis? What does your gut tell you is going to happen in this? With this case, with this bringing back the gentleman who's been deported to was it a El Salvadoran prison?
El Salvadoran prison. I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure. That's why we just have to wait and see, because this administration.
I feel bad for you, bro, because it looks like that's what you're gonna be, brother. I'm saying it right now. He will be there. He gonna be there. They are not bringing him back. They're not gonna bring him back. if
I hate to say that you're right, but I think you're right. I mean, I think they're going to ignore it. And I guess what I'm saying is, let's see when they do ignore it, what plays out.
What's going to happen then? Yeah.
Exactly,
Well, guys, I know. So that's the thing about it. One of the things about him that's so diabolical is he's throwing so. We've never had anybody just willfully disobey orders. Period. Okay, from the judges and various components in power. We've just never had that happen. He's throwing so much stuff against the system, just like last time. You can't even remember, guys. He's willfully breaking judges' orders right now. So I think that he's not that dude. I feel sorry for you, bro, but you just, it's looking bad for you, man. Your family gonna have to go to El Salvador to see you. I think that's what I think is gonna happen. So with that being said, we're gonna have to see. So, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, this has been a great show, full of energy, excitement, and people not agreeing with who they should agree with. So, on the next show, Darnell's not going to be allowed to talk.
Well, that seems to be the format right about now. But,
we're not letting Darnell ain't going to be able to talk. This is going to be a nice conversation with me and Cara walking through the Rose Garden. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have a great day. We hope you've enjoyed the strength, knowledge, the power of the biggest, baddest name in talk. We are the Open Mic Talk Show.
Peace.
Bye.